Contact us to avail the combo offer of General Studies and Public Administration optional with 20% discount.
The COVID-19 pandemic that is going on throughout the world, this has created some issues, some let's say posed on challenges of protecting the life of the people, public health concern we can say, and because of that the vaccine, which is the ultimate solution to reduce the infections, break the chain of the infections and control this pandemic, and therefore there is some kind of challenges faced in equitable access to these vaccines and the distribution of these vaccines on the equitable basis throughout the world to different countries. We can understand that some of the countries are developed countries, some of the countries are developing, while some of the countries are underdeveloped countries. There is grouping, and we can say rich and poor divide is already there in the world, not only in terms of finances or let's say resources, but also in terms of technological development. And from this we can understand that some countries which are well developed, we will say that Western countries and some of the developing countries, they have access to the vaccines, they have developed these vaccines. However, majority of the population, we will say that the third world or underdeveloped countries, they do not have access to these vaccines. At the same time, they are poor countries. That's why they are not able to buy these vaccines from the vaccine manufacturers. This has created a debate throughout the world that whether we should leave them without access to them, but it also creates some moral question. At the same time, the nature of the pandemic is such that we are not safe unless and until our neighbor is safe. This is how the nature of pandemic is there, and because of that our external affairs minister, our prime minister also continuously saying that we should make vaccines accessible to all countries throughout the world on the basis of, we can say, equitable manner. Okay, this principle should be implemented. Now let us understand the challenges here. First thing you should know about the production. So first thing we should understand is that development of vaccine, and second thing in terms of production of the vaccine. Okay, so in two areas there are some challenges. So, whenever we structurize our answer, it makes our content more visible, and therefore even in our answers, whenever we are writing challenges, write down in two areas there are important challenges in terms of development of vaccine and in terms of production of it. So when we are talking about development of vaccine, so technological progress or technological development, this is very important, and only some of the Western countries have those technological progress, at the same time resources available with the government to invest into those technological developments. Okay, so in the same manner the Western world progressed in a very fast manner in developing these vaccines, while other countries remained at the slower pace. Okay, including developing countries like India and China. As compared to them, the Western countries moved ahead here. Why? Because the technological development was already there in terms of, let's say, some of the private companies, at the same time the funding available to them, funding by state. This is very important aspect. So in vaccine development, funding by state was very important, and therefore in US government also funded different private companies. At the same time, UK government also funded the AstraZeneca company for development of vaccine. Okay, so yes, so funding by the state was important challenge, and this has been overcome in the Western world. But surely we can understand developing countries and underdeveloped countries, they do not have resources. They do not have the private companies and the technological development in the vaccine development. Okay, so this is the major aspect. So from this we can understand that now these companies have companies have developed vaccines in developed countries. Now once they are developed, surely the states of these, we can say countries, the governments of these countries, they will first procure all these vaccines for their own citizens, right? So they have investment, and therefore it becomes the rights of the citizens of the country to receive the vaccines first. So that led to vaccine nationalism. Okay, that led to vaccine nationalism. So pre-development or such kind of, let's say, pre-agreement were done by some of the Western countries' governments to these companies to supply these vaccines once developed and manufactured. Surely again, the resource capability was available to these countries or the governments of these countries, and not with the developing and underdeveloped countries. We are talking about the inequitable access. We are talking about the divide that is created in the world in access and distribution to these vaccines. Okay, at the same time, when we are talking about this concern, there was other concern of intellectual property rights. And through this concern, we will move towards production of the vaccine now. Once it is developed, the concern related to intellectual property rights. Now what is this concern? IPR. Intellectual property right, first of all we will understand the concept, because this is again important part of GS3 paper syllabus. IPR, right, intellectual property rights. So there are some let's say basic understanding that, or let's say when we are talking about the philosophical aspect, philosophical basis for protection to IPR, intellectual property rights. Intellectual property rights are basically the originality of any person, group of person, innovative ideas, in terms of, we can say, not only ideas, but if let's say a written document, their writing, their art form, any production process, any good that they have developed there. Okay, so objects, all these are protected through this intellectual property right. This becomes the intellectual property of that person who has developed it. And the philosophical basis for protecting that right of the person lies in connection, inherent connection between efforts and fruits from those efforts. It is, we can say, a natural phenomenon that the efforts that are put by the person, both intellectual or resources that are invested, the fruits from that efforts should be the sole, we can say, that domain of that person, that should go to that person, right? So this is the philosophical basis. So whenever the company develop the vaccine here, the intellectual property regarding that vaccine should be protected, and whatever the profit that should be generated, that remains the important concern here. Okay, second aspect in terms of, let's say, materialistic aspect, basis for protection. Why? Because unless and until this connection is realized, okay, so suppose there is a company and company is investing lots of money in developing any, let's say, vaccine here, so that company has motivation in mind that the company will gain some profits after getting successful in that developing of that vaccine, then only the company will invest any kind of intellectual property right. So innovation is driven through motivation of materialistic gain afterwards. Okay, so any person puts in hard work, intellectual investment that is done, so that gives some kind of, let's say, motivation to invest that intellectual efforts, when the person knows that after that innovation there will be some material gains. These are two important things. But yes, surely we know that some of the people are truly altruistic. Some of the people are truly altruistic. For example, the person who developed vaccine, or we can say that for polio disease, the person did not file the patent for the development of vaccine. This is how some of the people are altruistic. And the person who developed this vaccine had said that every person has contributed for the development of that polio vaccine. Okay, so yes, surely there is one mention in that booklet. It is talking about the March of Dimes. Okay, so Jonas Salk, who developed this vaccine, so he had said that every person of the USA, the citizen of USA, contributed in small amount for the development of this vaccine, and that is the fruit. Okay, so this is how he did not file for patent. So there are some altruistic aspects, but major focus, major basis for we can say protection of IPR is this one. Now what is obstacle here? For production purpose here we are talking about, the main obstacle is the protection to IPR given through TRIPS agreement of WTO. What is this TRIPS agreement? This was negotiated in 1995. Some basic information you should remember about this. Okay. Yes, so trade related aspects of intellectual property right. Okay, so this is very important agreement, and this agreement says that there should be laws in signatories country with basic minimum protection to IPRs, intellectual property rights of different companies, persons. Okay, so this is how the provision in this TRIPS agreement mentions about that, and each and every country signatory to this agreement has domestic laws which protects the patent rights. Okay, so this particular law, or we can say agreement, is acting as hindrance at present. It is acting as hindrance, obstacle at present for the mass scale production, the licensing and mass scale production through the manufacturing facilities available throughout the world in different countries. Okay, so surely these companies who have developed this intellectual property, the vaccine for COVID-19, along with some of the countries, they are opposing the patent waiver that is applied by India along with South Africa at WTO. The patent waiver talks about the waiver that should be given to development or the technological know-how, especially related to COVID-19 drugs, tests and vaccine development. Okay, now we can understand that the countries like USA and the other countries, they have accepted and they agreed that they will, we can say, support this proposal, but some of the countries, European countries like Germany, UK, they opposed such kind of proposal. And we know that WTO works on consensus basis. WTO work on consensus basis, and therefore any kind of such negotiations will take more time, and further it will act as a challenge for access and distribution to these vaccines. Okay, next thing you should understand here, that whether it is such kind of obstacle that there is no other way around. There is other way around, and it is mentioned in the TRIPS agreement itself. And what is that provision? Okay, so there is one provision about compulsory licensing. What is this provision? Understand this is very important. This can be asked in examination directly. Compulsory licensing talks about that whenever there is national emergency or any public health emergency is there, the government of that country can ask any company to compulsorily license its own IPR, okay, or any kind of technology it has developed to the domestic manufacturers. This is the provision of compulsory licensing, and it is mentioned in the TRIPS agreement itself. Okay, let me tell you the provision directly. It talks about Article 27 of this TRIPS. Article 27 of TRIPS agreement. It talks about this exception, and on the basis of this, India's law, that is Indian Patents Act 1970, section 92 of Indian Patents Act 1970, it also talks about the provision of compulsory licensing. And therefore Indian government also has this option. Then why India is not taking this option? Why India wants patent waiver at TRIPS, along with why let's say it is rallying other countries for patent waiver? Okay, so first thing you should understand that there are some problems here, problems with compulsory licensing. First thing is that this shows domination by state, some kind of domination by the state on these companies. Okay, and therefore companies will not be happily licensing these technologies to the manufacturers. Okay, so domination. Second thing is that due to this reluctance, they will find some kind of loopholes, and there will be more and more litigation by these companies, and this will drag on to number of years continuously. Okay, so company may not find it the sufficient amount of revenue from such compulsory licensing, and therefore it may file litigation to different international tribunals. Okay, and therefore this may go on continue for many years, so not sustainable solution. And third thing we should understand that IPR is not only about complete vaccine, one vaccine technology. Rather, IPRs are very small thing that are there in development of vaccine, including the process itself, process of manufacturing. Okay, so even if one IPR waiver for one particular aspect of vaccine development is given, maybe the other aspects will be the hindrance, and therefore the Indian government, along with other governments like South Africa, the other countries, they want the complete patent waiver for all types of technologies that are required for development of drugs and vaccines. Okay, compulsory licensing will take more efforts here, because it will have to invoke compulsory licensing for each and every IPR here. Okay, so in this manner you should understand the problems with the compulsory licensing, and therefore what the government can do. The focus should be on voluntary licensing. So here what we'll do is, as a way forward or options available, voluntary licensing. This is sustainable. What is voluntary licensing? The government should voluntarily come in agreement with the company be it domestic or foreign company, and the terms of the contract should be negotiated amicably and it should be mutually benefited, and then the company will be satisfied. The company will be willing to provide some concessions there. Okay, so such kind of voluntary licensing should be promoted. For example, Indian government had made such kind of, let's say, licensing related agreements, such kind of agreements with Indian company like Serum Institute of India is there, Bharat Biotech company is there, right? So the agreement between government and these companies, that is the voluntary licensing. This should be focused. Okay, so this is the sustainable option available. Along with that, the focus especially on the distribution. The focus especially on distribution. What is happening at present, those people who are living in the Western countries, they are receiving the vaccines first. Almost 60 to 70% of the population of US, UK, Canada, they have been vaccinated completely. Okay, and the people in India or China or some, let's say, forget about the countries of African continent. Okay, so this is becoming the problem at present, though we can understand that there are some international efforts. What are these international efforts? First thing, we know about the COVAX facility. COVAX facility is the collaboration between WHO, then we can say Gavi, which is the public-private partnership for the vaccine development and making vaccines available to underdeveloped countries. That is already there. Okay, Bill and Melinda Gates is very important, let's say, promoter. It is actually the initiative of Bill and Melinda Gates. Okay, and at the same time there is CEPI, Coalition for Epidemics Preparedness Innovations. So this CEPI here, India, this is initiative of India, Norway and international forums like World Economic Forum. Okay, so this CEPI, Gavi and WHO, they have formed this COVAX facility last year itself. And through that COVAX facility, it is going to procure vaccines at very lower rates and distribute it to equitable manner. So that means it will provide these vaccines to all member countries of this COVAX facilities. Largely the members are developing countries and underdeveloped countries. Okay, so India is one of the largest contributor to this COVAX facility. Covishield vaccine that is produced in India, COVAX facility is procuring largely this vaccine here and going to supply this vaccine to the other countries. And in addition to this, recently there was G7 summit, and through that G7 summit, these developed countries, they have said that 1 billion doses of vaccines will be provided by end of 2022, next year, by these countries, 7 countries including US. Among this 1,500,000,000 will be provided by US itself. Okay, and the remaining by other countries. Fine. So this is how the Western countries are now coming forward. Now, after, let's say, vaccinating their own citizens, right? At the same time, the individual efforts like by India. What is the initiative of India? To provide vaccines to neighboring and small island countries and some of the African countries, underdeveloped countries. Vaccine Maitri initiative. Yes, we are aware about this. So since the start of this year, through this Vaccine Maitri initiative, we have given the vaccines to almost more than 90 countries. We have supplied vaccines to more than 90 countries. Okay, and later on, second wave came. And our own people were struggling to get the vaccines. Okay, and then the struggle to book the slot. Okay, so we can understand we all face that struggle, and therefore through that facility of let's say giving these vaccines, that was stopped later on, and the government shifted the focus to vaccinating own citizens. But we can understand that this is also important initiative, and in future India will surely provide vaccines to at least its neighboring countries and some of the African countries also. Okay, so this is how India also wants to emphasize on this principle that we are not protected unless and until our neighbors are protected. This is the nature of this pandemic, and that's why protectionist approach, or we can say the vaccine nationalism that started, so this is not at all good approach here. Okay, so in this manner you should understand what are the issues at international level. Domestic level, basically you should understand at domestic level what are the issues that we are facing, though the article that write up only focuses on international issues. Okay, at domestic level also we will discuss briefly here, because this is also important, and in future we will be discussing the vaccination policy in India, okay, as a separate topic. Vaccination policy in India, what happened since last year, how it evolved, that is the separate topic to be discussed. But when we are talking about vaccine development and distribution, the focus here is lack of consistency in policy, in vaccination policy. We have seen since the start itself, the government has not been consistent and clarity in the policy. First of all 60 plus, then 45 plus, then 18 plus, okay, and at the same time then later on it asked the states to vaccinate the people. Central let's say recused from taking the responsibility, but later on again the central government said that we will provide the vaccines free of cost. Okay, so this is how the continuous changes in the vaccination policy. Second thing we should understand is that the production capacity, production or manufacturing capacity at present, initially it was not ramped up, and therefore the supply demand mismatch that was created, that is becoming. Third thing, we should understand the challenges in future. Some of the RNA based vaccines, so we should understand they require cold storage facilities. Okay, so the Western companies like Moderna, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, the vaccines developed by them, they require sub-zero temperatures for storage and transport, and therefore Indian vaccination infrastructure is not aligned with that. This will be the major problem in future if we want to include the Western vaccines into India's vaccination program. Whatever the vaccines developed in India, major two, Covishield, Covaxin, these can be stored at not room temperature, or 2 to 8 degrees Celsius temperature, and that facility is available from the vaccination, let's say vaccination program that is already there, Indradhanush program. Okay, so that Indradhanush program is already having the vaccination infrastructure throughout India at grassroots level, and that is being used for the vaccination of COVID-19 also. So that infrastructure is in line with the domestic vaccines, but not the Western vaccines. That will be the major challenge in future. Okay, so the government is ramping up the production capacities of Covaxin and Covishield. How? So some of the public sector undertakings have been given responsibility to produce the Covaxin. Okay, so this is good thing. Through this, production will be there. For Covishield, the expansion of the facilities by Serum Institute of India, this is also being done. The government itself is investing in that expansion of the manufacturing facilities. Okay, so in this manner, the production in future will be there, and the government is working on the promise that by the end of this year, all people will be vaccinated. However, looking at the present trend, this deadline may not be achieved. Okay, at present, we can understand that around 40 to 50 million people are given the vaccines on daily basis, and that too depending on the supply available there. The fluctuations are continuous there, and if we want to vaccinate all people by this year end, we need to move to 100 million doses given on daily basis. This should be the target. Okay, so this is how we have to understand. We will not go into the political aspect. Okay, so how the central government or the ruling party and the ruling party in the states, so that is not, let's say, relevant to our examination. Fine. So these are the challenges related to equitable access and distribution of vaccines at international level and domestic level.
Contact us to avail the combo offer of General Studies and Public Administration optional with 20% discount.